Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the video. So if my voice sounds a little different, I'm currently under the weather at the moment, so so that's kind of why. If you can tell that my voice is a little different, that's why. And second of all, I gotta say, before we get into the topic, thank you so much for the continued support as we recently just passed the 300 sub count on YouTube, so thank you. Thank you very much for all your continued love and support. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So, Gotham Knights, the latest AAA release, and based on reviews and all that, it is very divisive. It is currently sitting at a 68 on Metacritic, and it's currently across all platforms, like where it's ranging hovering in the 60s, so some versions are worse than others, but whatever. And on OpenCritic, it is currently sitting at a 70 on top critic average, and a 44% recommend this experience. So, and Digital Foundry has actually taken a look at the game and analyzed it both visually and in performance across all the console versions. Because, and keep in mind, before release, like literally right before the game released this past weekend, it was announced by WBG Montreal that the game would have a 30 FPS cap on console, and based on the frame rate analysis that we'll get into later, it doesn't even hit a solid 30. Like, wow. And visually, it looks underwhelming as hell compared to Arkham Knight. And the first comparison from Digital Foundry I'm gonna be showing you is visually, because like I just said, it looks underwhelming compared to Arkham Knight, a game from 2015, folks. So without further ado, roll it, Digital Foundry.
Peers through. Gotham Knight's distant detail looks like a soupy mess in contrast. I'm comparing the games here on PS5, running the PS4 code for Arkham Knights under backwards compatibility. Even the basic city design just feels off. There's little in the way of industrial activity, the street layouts are basically the same as any other open world city, and specific Batman visual signatures, like zeppelins flying overhead or a dramatically oversized moon, appear to be absent. I suppose a lot of this will come down to taste, but it's remarkable that Gotham Knights presents an open world environment that's difficult to distinguish from other recent releases, especially when Arkham Knight showed such incredible confidence and vision. Put the games side by side here, and Gotham Knights just looks lifeless. And that's actually literally true as well. Arkham Knight was swarming with gangs of criminals and fleeing pedestrians. You couldn't get very far on foot without being confronted by gangs of enemies ransacking the city. Gotham Knights is so devoid of life by comparison that I could drive around for minutes without spotting anything other than the occasional civilian. It's a pretty remarkable change, and it feels very odd. Comparing individual effects and models between the two titles, Arkham Knight still manages to hold its ground. Take the water, for example. Arkham had stunning, tech demo style tessellated water, with an extremely high level of geometric detail, realistic foam textures, and convincing looking swells. It beautifully fit Gotham's perpetually stormy state, and it's up there with the best looking video game water even today, over 7 years after the game's release. Gotham Knight's water looks okay, but is much less pleasing by comparison. The waves don't really crest and have a weak sense of wind direction, seeming to sort of undulate up and down independent of the weather. The water's surface is smooth and lacks much detail, relying heavily on textures. It's par for the course for water in games nowadays, sadly, but it doesn't come anywhere near the singular beauty of the turbulent seas in Arkham Knight. Gotham Knights does score some wins if you measure assets side by side, however. Arkham's texture work still looks perfectly fine, but surfaces generally do showcase higher res 2D art in Gotham Knights. Chalk this up to running with access to extra memory perhaps, or possibly the more limited asset variety in Gotham Knights is helping somewhat. Interiors in general showcase less granular detail in Arkham Knight as well, though as mentioned before, this is a high point for Gotham Knights visuals. I would be remiss not to mention TAA as well, which is present in Gotham Knights and absent from Arkham. Unreal Engine 4 has a very capable and refined TAA, which cleans up the image quite nicely here and pairs with a higher rendering resolution to create a solid final picture.
Wow, WBG Montreal, you're telling me that you're not up to par to deliver a game visually like Rocksteady can on 8th gen consoles that were underpowered from the get-go when they released in 2013, especially on with those Jaguar cores, man, Rocksteady never misses, man. Like, they really knew how to get around those limitations. Like, because, wow, Arkham Knight still holds up to this day. Like, it still impresses me with how good it looks, considering the platforms they released on back then. And it's 7 years old at this point, and that a 2022 release fails to match up visually to that in areas, like, it is astounding. But I know people may come back and be, well, hey, maybe the frame rate is better on Gotham Knights than it is on Arkham Knight. Yeah, you would think so with the hardware, but I've got some bad news for you. It's not looking good. So take it away, Digital Foundry.
True that Gotham Knights targets 30 FPS, but Gotham Knights is constantly beset by framerate drops, stutters, and frame time fluctuations. Driving around the city provides the best stress test. Here we see a mix of 50 and 33 millisecond frames while under duress, with sudden frame time spikes and 16 millisecond readings at times. It's an extremely unstable and ugly experience. We're seeing constant frame time fluctuations, combined with big performance drops, down to a minimum of about 25 FPS or so. I'm describing performance across all platforms here, as the consoles perform more or less identically. Any sort of combat or traversal on foot around Gotham City can cause the same issues. The frame time spikes are more of an issue with faster traversal, but frame persistence issues and more conventional performance drops are common. Interiors fare somewhat better, with fewer of the large performance drops, though the odd frame time issues persist. Perhaps these areas stress the game's core rendering systems less, or trigger fewer issues with streaming. In any case, this is as good as it gets, though it's still unacceptably unstable. Perhaps the worst frame rates I encountered were in the train terminals. I was able to get performance to collapse here, with lows around 20 FPS. There's no clear reason for this, although I was able to tank frame rates across multiple runs through multiple terminals on the Xbox Series X. I didn't have any luck, however, in replicating this behavior on the Series S or PS5, so perhaps this one issue is Series X specific, or only emerges after a specific trigger. Really though, performance in this game is unacceptable. It seems like we're getting a mix of smaller frame time problems, which should be fixable, along with issues with stuttering and prolonged frame rate dips, which may prove more fundamentally challenging. Given this game's development issues, I doubt these are the sorts of problems that can be quickly addressed, though I'd love to be proven wrong. At the moment, Gotham Knights can't even deliver a stable 30 FPS, falling well short of expectations for a cross-gen title. And I do say cross-gen here, because the technology is thoroughly cross-gen in nature. All the rendering features, with the exception of RT reflections on the premium consoles, would find a comfortable home on last-gen hardware. Loading screens are still present even when traveling between the open world and mission briefings or combat arenas. It's hard to see how Gotham Knights would have worked on the planned last-gen console versions, however, given the poor performance here. So here's my advice. If you want to play a Batman game, go back to the 7th and 8th gen Batman titles in the Arkham series. Every one of those games, especially the excellent Arkham Knight, is a solid experience. Gotham Knights, in contrast, is beset by bland visual design, dull gameplay, and horrible performance. There are some...
Why? 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 Why, oh god fucking why?
Bruh, you're really telling me, WBG Montreal, that you could not get the game to perform at 60 on the consoles? With how capable these consoles are, you're telling me you could not find a way to get the game, and you could even get it at a stable 30 FPS, especially on the PS5 and the Series X. How the hell does The Series S outperformed those two. How? And apparently it's a unoptimized mess on PC as well. How? I'm speechless. Like, how? Boy, am I glad I waited. I'm glad I waited to buy this game, and it sucks too because I was looking forward to this game. I really was. But man, it is heartbreaking, man. So hopefully after some updates, like, they optimize the game more. But man, what a disappointment. Like, it really is, man. I'll probably pick it up, like, if it's on sale, when it's on sale or something like that. But man, what a heartbreak, man. Because it seems like there's some positive things to the game. Like, it really does. So, because I've heard from people who actually play the game that's pretty fun, actually. So, but man, what a shame. What a real shame. This could have been, like, really great, man. But man, after waiting so long for a new Batman game after Arkham Knight, man, what a shame. It really freaking is, man. So hopefully Suicide Squad can deliver, which I have a feeling it will, considering it's Rocksteady. But man, wow. Man, I was not expecting this kind of at all when it comes to Gotham Knights. Again, WBG Montreal actually did pretty decently with Arkham Origins, so that's why I'm kind of shocked to see this type of result from them. It's pretty surprising, but anyway, I think that's all I gotta say at this point. But man, what a disappointment. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. Let me know what you think. Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, hit the like button and consider hitting that sub button so you don't miss any more videos. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.